All right, you guys, we're going to get started, and I'll continue to let people in the Zoom. If you're watching live stream on eXp Family Tree, welcome. You can certainly jump in the Zoom anytime or continue to watch us there. Reminder that is, this is always staying live streamed in our workplace group forever. So you can go back and watch this, tag people if you want them to see it. Bless your friends. This will also be out on my YouTube channel within the next 24 hours. So if there's people outside of eXp that want to watch this that you think would get value from it, please pass it on. I found Ben on Facebook, actually. I love how, social media gets me connected with people. And then I realized that Ben is in the same company I am, but we're in a large company, so we don't all know each other. And so I got really excited to bring somebody on to talk about a topic that we haven't had for a while. We've been doing this Wednesday call at 2 p.m. Eastern for 2.5 years straight. We've had lots of people showing up. We have all of the content, 2.5 years of content on my YouTube channel and still live streamed in eXp Family Tree. You can type my name and you can find all the past episodes if you want. But we bring guests in from all different companies, all different experiences, all different expertises, usually around lead generation, lead conversion, and or something that's going to benefit you as a business owner in real estate. And today we have Ben and Michael Wiseman, and I did get Ben's bio, so he's going to have to fill in Michael's, but I just want to give you guys a little bit of information before we get started, and then we're going to let them take it away. And you can start to chat questions in the chat box. If you're watching the live stream, you can chat there. You can also raise your hand, and we will obviously leave time at the end for questions as well. And we'll give you information on how you can continue to learn more about this after this free call as well. So Ben kicked off his career mastering lead generation in the locksmith industry, which I find to be really interesting. He dominated Google local searches at that time to pull most of his leads. And so when COVID hit, he traded the Denver scene for Maine, teaming up with his dad, Mike, who's also on the call, on the real property team. And Ben brought his Google savvy to the real estate world. Before long, they were closing over 40 transactions a year just from Google profiles. And so now both of them are with eXp Realty, and they are using the Google local search ecosystem to really kind of keep the real estate market buzzing. He's got innovative techniques that haven't just skyrocketed his local team success, but they're also helping hundreds of agents and teams across the country. So with a deep understanding of SEO, local search, cutting edge technology, Ben's carved out a niche as a go-to guy for upping real estate games everywhere. His repeatable and duplicatable system works wonders in any market, helping other real estate pros stay top-notch leads straight from Google as well. And that's what they are here to talk a little bit about today. I'm going to let you guys take it away. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to be here with us. We really appreciate it. We're excited to learn from you guys.
Yeah, thanks, Cari. And thanks for having us on the call. It's really nice to be sharing, especially eXp agents. I'm always excited though. It's eXp. We have a goal. We always throw up people. We're like, we want an eXp agent, top 3 markets all across the country. So Google, real estate agent near me. We want to see eXp those top 3 spots.
That's right.
That's our big goal.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'll let Mike say a word about himself too, then we'll get started here.
Cool.
Okay. I mean, a lot of people do know me in Family Tree. Try to stay kind of active, but like Ben said, he joined our team, came up to Maine about 4 years ago. I run the team I started about 5 years ago, first at a previous brokerage at KW, and then moved over here about a little bit 3 years ago. I mean, real quick, I've iconed a few times, 3 times, but I'll give Ben a lot of the credit for that, even though he's behind the scenes. This is what drives our production. And so, we've been very blessed to build a team that can do 60 to 80 transactions and pretty consistently generate lead flow. And now take it out to the, kind of to the masses and take it to the public and implement this in multiple different markets and help other agents. And that's really what we're focused on. So with that kind of real short intro, real short bio, let's just jump in. Okay, I'm going to share a screen and we're going to take you through some slides. This will be a very, very practical and tactical. I'm going to keep it to that. Our goal when Ben and I do a presentation like this is that you finish the 40 minutes or so that we're going to be together today. You're going to know a lot more about how to generate business off of Google. Okay. And, when we're successful at it. So, and we want you to be successful at it. So this is going to be very tactical, very practical. You'll want to take notes. I think at the end, there may be an ability to We put together a totally free kind of course or summary that Ben can give you access to. This is a version of what we gave live. Any of you that were in the White Plains area, that's why Ben and I speak on this live. We've spoken live many events for the EXP platform. This is what we talked about here. So it's about dominating local search with particularly using Google. So let's just jump right into it, and you get your pencils ready, and let's kind of.
I would say we should take some notes down because we go quick and we cover a lot of information very quickly.
Right.
So it's recorded great, but take some notes down because we can give a lot of pointers.
That's right.
And hope you guys walk away being able to implement a lot of what you learned here today.
Okay. Well, we live in Maine today, but I'm from New York, so I have to slow down when I speak because it can go pretty quick. But here's the bottom line, right? You're here today to learn how to generate new business by getting found when a buyer or seller searches for a real estate agent in your town, your area, even your entire state. And we do this live. I often have people take out their phones and go ahead and do a trial search, and you'll find results similar to what you see on the screen here, right? And I'll say search real estate agent near me or real estate agent in Maine, which is what the search on the right of our screen is right here. And I've always, we'll get some interaction if I can or feedback. We're doing this kind of live stream, so not so much with that aspect of it as far as the feedback, but think about this. How many of you right now are consistently generating business? And by that, I mean closing deals every single month that you can attribute to being found when someone searched on Google for a real estate agent in their market. And so it's really exciting when Ben and I do these presentations is that for many of you, if not a majority of you on this call, this may be a completely untapped lead source. And believe it, there's very few of those left in the world today. But because it's so new, it's only less than 4 years old in the real estate space. But we know that there's probably hundreds, maybe even thousands of transactions that are closing every year in your local market. It's just a question of whether you get the phone call or not. Yeah. And it's really going to be a choice. So we're going to show you the choices you can take.
I was just talking to an agent who has started with local services in South Carolina. I believe she's getting somewhere in the realm of like 20 plus good leads a week from this. She's already got 3 of those pre-approved with a lender out on showing. So this is not like, this is a real lead source. It's a real thing. I find many agents like look at this and go, oh no, it's just another lead source. This is not just another lead source. This is one of the highest quality, highest intent lead sources we've ever found in our industry.
Yeah.
Period.
And relatively easy to implement. And we're going to kind of compare it, contrast it to some of the ones you might be familiar with. But that search on the right there is an actual search that we did, I don't know, about just before the New York rally. We did it probably, I don't know, 2 months ago, less than 2 months ago. Okay, a few weeks ago. And we're actually number 1, number 3 there are both because we're there. Ours, the third one is my team. The first one is Christine, who's an agent that we work with up here in Maine. All right, so let's first understand why this is important and what's going on. So Google is investing a tremendous amount of energy and resources into optimizing the local search platforms. They are set out. Google has an objective to become the most trusted source when it comes to connecting local businesses with local business clients and customers. They want to be the matchmaker. Okay, and when Google sets out to do something like that, this is why we need to pay attention to it. They are the 500-pound gorilla when it comes to the search engine space. The 400-pound gorilla is YouTube, and then behind that, it's a very distant third. So when Google wants to become this kind of trusted source of connector, that's why we need to pay attention to it and watch what they need from us. We can give to them, and then they will, make us their kind of preferred partner, if you will. And we'll look and see what that, take a look at that. See what that looks like on the next couple of slides. But that's why it's so important to do. And the big message that's going to come across this afternoon from Ben and I to you is that if you're not getting found and getting calls from Google, I promise you, and closing deals, I promise you someone else in your market is. And we can actually do that search and see who those people are. And we're going to give you some actual numbers and statistics. We actually track now well over 100 accounts. So we're seeing all the lead flow coming in, and we know what's closing. So we can tell you exactly what's happening. And that should be a good example and inspire you to go out there and get your fair share. These are just a few examples here. I put it at the beginning just to give you some, to kind of impress upon you that this is something that any of you can do, because all the people you're going to see are #1 spot. So let's start left to right. That's in Washington State. Aaron Miriello is ranking #1 on Google for the entire state. Okay, and that everything we're talking about here is they were not ranking until they started, working and implementing the systems we're going to show you today. Exactly what we're going to show you today. Notice number 2 there, by the way, it's the Hellickson team. That's Michael Hellickson's son from Club Wealth Coaching. Okay, we have 9 reviews. Our client, he has 300 reviews. We're still number 1 in the state. Okay, call Kathy in the middle there, Virginia. To the right, you have Lonnie Belcher in Nevada. Next slide, I've got 4 more. I've got Jennifer Boswell, number 1 in North Carolina. New Hampshire, I've got several here. Tiffany Lee, Real Property Team, that's my team. And Team Yarmo, Deb Yarmo, number 4 spot. In the Ohio, next slide over there, I've got Tracy Taylor. We've got in Idaho, Jennifer Bonner. And we've got in Oregon, we've got Debbie Hauer. And that's just a small sampling of the number 1 rankings. And they're all getting calls. Some of them getting a lot of calls. So what I want to kind of impress upon you now, what Ben just mentioned, just to separate this from the other lead sources that we're all so familiar with, because I started in production about 5.5 years ago, and I built my business with a telephone, making outbound calls, doing, expired listings for sale by owners, mostly expires, right? 90% expireds. In 2019, I listed 21 properties, all from expired listings, thousands of phone calls. But what I can tell you is that is becoming more challenging. We still go after expired listings. It's still a great lead source of people likely to sell as our for sale by owners. But the new rules, the new regulations to contact prospective buyers and sellers by phone and by text is getting harder and harder to work with. Essentially, almost every week, something else comes up. And all the big major brokerages have unfortunately had to settle lawsuits here. These lawsuits obviously are pale in comparison, very minor compared to the major ones we're dealing with, which is approaching $1 billion. But even EXP, our home brokerage here had to settle a suit for almost $27 million. Keller Williams, $40 million. They were just sued about 2 months ago again. Now the brokerages kind of disavow. They say it's our agents, they're independent contractors, but still the brokers always get sued because they have the deep pockets. But this is just for contacting people on the telephone, and you call the wrong person more than once, and boom, you've got a lawsuit, and it becomes class action. And so this is really a true shift in how we start generating business in the near future. And I saw this happen once before in a previous career when I was first selling tax-free municipal bonds in Florida. This is the late 1990s. I would cold call high net worth investors and say, hey, it's Mike Wiseman, got a great AAA insured tax-free muni bond. You got a pen and paper, and just go down the list, up and down Ocean Boulevard on Route 1 in Miami Beach, and literally would sell $250,000 of tax-free bonds, sometimes on the first phone call. Okay, that went away overnight, that cold calling of leads, because the do not call list came in, and security firms took it seriously very quickly. Real estate, it's kind of trickled into it more so, but that was a shift in how we had to generate business in that business. We're seeing that shift right now among other shifts, market-driven shifts, legislation-driven shifts, commission calculation shifts, commission where we're going to get paid. That's all shifting. This too is a shift, and we need to start thinking differently. So let's compare and contrast it now to some other lead sources, like Ben mentioned. So I want to kind of make sure you get a good distinction and separation of what we're talking about here. But this is something that we've all dealt with. Lack of leads. It's obviously the earlier on your business, the more lack of leads you may have. And therefore the constant prospecting might kick in. Like I was doing my year 1, constantly on the phone prospecting, a very tight schedule, right? 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. every single morning. Dial the phone, take a quick break, appointments in the afternoons, but it's a grind. And you can do that for so long, and then you get busy with clients, and then you kind of stop doing that, and then you're on this roller coaster. Does that sound familiar? Then you have this idea also of market saturation. So even when we move into, like, let's say social media or direct mail, I often hear, and I coach and train clients all over the country on how to take market share. Well, so-and-so already has that market. That's their market. They dominate it, even on social media, maybe even on YouTube or Instagram, maybe on the park benches, that sort of thing. And so standing out in an overcrowded market is getting more challenging, and you have to be more skilled at it. So that's something that, we all need to focus on, but it's still a challenge. What we're talking about today is going to kind of circumvent all of these issues.
Yeah.
Right.
And we're not taking weight away from the current way we do business, but it's about diversifying and adding in other streams of leads. And I find that many agents have no idea this even exists. That's why we're here today.
Right. Right. So, and I'm specifically kind of going on this because I want to, it is an online lead source, but it's very different than, let's say, what we would consider to be Google leads, like PPC, pay per click. Okay. Those are pay per click, Facebook leads. Those are very low conversion rate leads. Okay. I currently, as we stand here today, have about 19,000 leads in my database, and we're running AI on them now. That's a different course, Cari, what we've done. But literally, I'm running AI chatbots that's getting a 2.5% conversion rate off of leads from the last 5 years. That's really, really good. But try to get an agent to reach out to 300 people a day to talk to 2.5% of those people. It's just it's not possible, right? So in general, these PPC leads that we're so used to, even though they're relatively inexpensive, or Facebook leads, they can take a year and a half or more to convert. You're generally looking for a 1% if you can get there. 2, 3 is already becoming a rock star, kind of a black belt at converting online leads. And for most agents, the return on the time is simply not there. Just having that follow through. And so it's really easy to get burned out. So this is not what we're going to be focusing on today at all. This last thing I want to mention, and this is becoming more and more relevant even as we speak, as these lawsuits come into play, is these high referral fees. We are going to see a shift. We're already seeing it to all the portals, the Zillows, the UpCities, the Homes.com can be added into here right now. They're going to go for a bigger and bigger piece of our commission. Okay, they're going to go pay on closing. They're going to be 35 to 50%. Okay, we're already seeing Zillow change its model. I've never been a Zillow subscriber, but the pay per lead models are being phased out all over the country. They're switching it only to a pay on closing, and they're only giving it to the teams that have the best closing records, or the agents that have the best closing records. Because think about this. When buyer commissions become completely negotiable and there's no longer a stated offer of compensation in the MLS, which we know is likely to disappear, though the final settlement, the proposed settlement may change, but that's pretty clear that's going to go away. What's a buyer lead worth? And how does Zillow make a business model out of it? They used to know. And they used to know that in Charlotte, North Carolina, if the average commission was 2.5% on the buy side being offered, that was a published figure. Remember, Zillow's a broker. They can see the published offers of compensation. They know the average price point is $400. They know it's a $10,000 potential commission. They can price their leads. When that's gone, their lead, they no longer know what those leads are worth. So you're going to see them looking for more and more of our share. Their hands are going deeper and deeper in our pockets. So what we're giving you here is really the ability to start, teaching you how to fish, right?
Self-generate your own leads and not rely on Zillow, Realty.com, or UpCity for, again, you can use those lead sources, but to solely rely on them for your business I don't think it's a stable business model for anyone to go after.
Right.
So this is one more tool that we can add to our tool belt to produce our own leads, so we can control our own flow.
Right. So you can avoid that "who moved my cheese" kind of moment, right? When someone pulls the plug on something or other. So this is just some quick results, and it's not so much to impress upon you, as the cliche goes, but to impress upon you that this actually works, and to show you, give you an kind of idea what these leads are. So in 23, this is our team in Maine. We've closed over 40 transactions. This has been consistently happening for over 3 years now. 40 transactions directly from being found on our inbound calls from our local profiles, or Google local profiles. Okay, now this is the important part. Pay attention here. These leads get a 10% conversion rate from the very first call to the closing. They have an average time of first call to closing of less than 100 days. And they generally have a 12 to 13 times return on the investment, which means if we're going to pay $1,000 to invest $1,000 in leads, we have reliably delivered $12,000 to $13,000 of GCI for every $1,000 that we've spent. And in 23, I think is that the numbers are approximately, it's about $20,000 we spent on Google local services and did about $240, $250 GCI. The numbers have played out very consistently. And now we've seen it in multiple markets, close to, Ben can tell you exactly, it's over 100 accounts that we're kind of monitoring. And so it's got to be in 70 or 80 different states, or 67.
Actually, I think just this past week, I spoke to three of our clients actually, that each had a $1 million buyer that they were shopping with. One was in the contract. One had just had tried getting the contract, but offer wasn't accepted. Still looking for a house, and one had just got one in. So these are real leads, real people. They're and where we call come list me, come write me an offer. And I'm going to do this point home from this slide here. Most agents, what we're used to is the low quality lead source that Mike is talking about, with Facebook, or right, where you make an ad, right, and you give the Facebook, and Facebook decides who they're going to show the ad to, right? So they're taking the ad and showing it to random people who they believe may click on your ad, right? So it's you looking for, right, the clients, right? You're hoping the clients will click on you. So with this lead source, the reason why it's so good is because this script is flipped. Right, we're not looking for clients. Clients are looking for us, right? These leads coming in, they're so good because they're looking for a real estate agent. They're going on the internet looking for a realtor in Maine, realtor in Waterville, Maine, right, to sell a house, to buy a house, right? And they're finding the agent and choosing to call us as their agent, right? So that is not us going after and putting a random ad of a house that they may be interested in. No, these are people who want an agent, and they're going out and looking for a real estate agent. So that's why these conversion rates and ROI is so high for this lead source.
Exactly. That number on the right here, we ran that number. It was in what was resulted from March. We must, because the rallies were in April. We spoke out in New York. So in the March numbers, we had from 90 different accounts, we're tracking about 630 different inbound, 630 leads. And the average leads received across 90 accounts is between 7 for the month or 22 for the month. Okay, and remember, we're converting at about 10% rate, sometimes higher. So that's 1 to 2 closings a month that were coming in March. Those closings will obviously come out 90 days down the road. But that's what we're seeing. And March is one of the slower months that we've seen in quite a while. So it's really good points there. All right, so now we're going to start getting a little more kind of technical and in the weeds. I hope that was enough for the first 15 minutes to kind of impress upon you and maybe make an impression that you need to be looking at this lead source and give it some weight and make it part of your plan. Now we're going to tell you kind of exactly what you need to do. But before I do that, I want to go through and kind of elaborate a little bit on what's Google's business model. Because Google is I hope this doesn't shock anybody, it's a for-profit business, right? Search engine is a for-profit business. Google's out there to make money. And that's going to be a kind of a running theme through here. Ben will touch upon that more. In fact, that actually should be a third criteria at one point. We'll talk about it. But Google is always trying to deliver search results that satisfy 2 criteria. The first result is, are my search results relevant to what I was looking for? Now, if you think about real estate and a real estate agent in particular, like Ben just mentioned, someone searching for a real estate agent in Waterville, Maine, Google's got a pretty good shot, almost 100%, to deliver relevant results, right? Think about that. But let's say someone just searched real estate Waterville, Maine. Now, what are they looking for? Google's not really sure. Now, it's still going to deliver results. It always has an answer, but it might not be the exact result that the person searching for real estate Waterville, Maine was looking for. Were they buyers? Were they sellers? Are they doing research? Are they renting? Are they looking for a job in real estate? It's really unknown, but based on that person's previous interactions, remember, Google is following us around the internet, right? They're following us around like we're carrying fish as a stray cat behind us, right? They're just not going to go away. They're staying tight to us. They know where we've been and where we're going, so they may make a guess. So they'll try to get relevant with every search result. So relevancy, keep that in mind. The next thing that Google is always trying to evaluate for local services and all their search results is experience. And this is where you're going to see, when we talk about some of the ranking factors, you can have a huge advantage over almost anybody else in your market, large or small. Did I have a positive experience when I acted upon the search results provided to me by Google and I called the real estate agent, I called the service provider? So literally when I picked up the phone and I called, was my experience good? Did I have a good experience? And Google is ranking that factor, and this is what they have to deliver: a relevancy and experience. So with those 2 factors in mind, let's go through now and kind of understand what we're talking about. All right. So I don't know, Ben, you want to talk about this slide? This is called the stack. And this is probably, I'll let Ben talk about it, the most important slide we're going to look at today, even though it's kind of boring. It's the most misunderstood. So take some notes here and ask questions at the end if you're not clear.
Oop, hang on a second. Got my hand.
Okay. So while Ben's doing that, I'll cover the.
You got it. Okay,
I'll cover I'll cover
I
the
got it,
first
you're good.
part.
So
Yeah?
the first up top there is the AI results. Now this is not available for
AI.
everyone. And like Mike said, this is the spot that most agents get confused and go wrong. Where Google, almost every agent, right? We all know about Google, and almost all of us know about Google business profiles, right? But there's actually 3 ways that we can rank our profiles or our faces, right? Have our numbers up there on Google, right? And the first one you see up top there is the AI results. Now this one's brand new, right? It's right over here. And I think right now Google is shifting it like Gemini. They're calling it Gemini, right? So it's the AI results. So now the AI results is still in beta mode, but I promise you, Mike always says the same thing too. Search is going to AI. So
Right.
having this AI result is here. It's not really impactful at the moment, but it is coming. It is important to be on top of this even more so because of these AI results. It is coming. So I just want to make you guys aware of the AI results, and you can test it for yourself too. If you go to Google on your phone, there's a little lab button. You can test out the AI results, but I want you to notice where the AI result is pulling its results from. Right. So if you look at the AI results, it's coming straight from the Google Map Pack, the business profile, right? It's taking it here and putting it up here. And maybe it mix in, LS. We don't know how it'll work exactly in the future, but we know that it's going to pull results from the existing platforms. It's not Google's not going to create a brand new system. It's overnight. It's like they've been working on these systems for decades,
Yeah.
right? They're gonna adjust it and make it better, make the better experience, but it's not gonna all of a sudden make a new platform. So it's gonna pull from our profile. So being on these profiles is even more important going forward to the future. The
Right.
future
Just
proof
add on-
ourselves for this.
And Google's going to look to their own platforms first to deliver AI search results, because we're going to see, remember, they're a for-profit business. They want the revenue from you to call and click on these ads. So if you want to see AI search results right now, kind of that are more practical, where you can see it actually in action, is go to Amazon and pull up any product, right? And I always say you could pull up like this battery charger for a Fuji camera, and you could go to Amazon and search for this, and you might find 300 reviews. But at the top of the review section, there's an AI section now that says what most people liked about this product was you could charge 2 batteries at once, and it has 2 types of USB cables. What they found most difficult to use was that sometimes batteries that are older didn't charge fully, et cetera, et cetera. Those are AI results. The Amazon AI is reading all the reviews and giving you kind of a summary in a natural language that is intelligent, and hopefully will help you make a decision, an educated decision on that product. That's what AI results are going to start looking like on Google, and they're going to start looking at the Google profiles first, and they will pull from outside Google as well. Remember, they want you to call someone in those profiles as well. So that's why the results are going to come. And as Ben describes this page more, you'll understand it, why the AI results are going to be impactful, and why you need to kind of, everything we do today will affect your Google AI rankings in the future, I promise.
Yeah. All right. So this next spot here is Google Local Services. Now, this is the profile that agents think they have or don't know they have, or most agents. I think probably on our calls you run every week, we have between 60 and 100 agents on our webinars every single Friday, and probably 85 to 90% of the agents have no idea what this even is, right? They have no idea, right? It's called Google Local Services. This is the first thing we're going to dive into today. It is a paid lead source, right? It does say sponsored, but it also says Google verifies, little green checkbox, which we'll see in a second, right? But these are Google paid ads, right? These are not pay per click, right? You can click these ads. I can click it. I can go to their website. I can look them up. That provider does not get charged. They only get charged when I call them or send a message to that business. Then they are charged, right? So basically, it's a pay per lead system. So it which is a really good distinction to make from pay per click, because a pay per click, which we're kind of familiar with, or Facebook ad or an impression ad, you can run lots of ads, right, and get no results and still pay a big bill, right? With pay per click, you can run an ad, people click on the ad right to your website, they don't convert, and you still paid a chunk of money with no results. With local service ads, if you don't get results, it is free to rank. It costs you $0 to be up in the top rankings, literally. Free exposure unless you get the actual actions that you want to happen in your profile. So it's a very, very powerful lead source, and that's local services.
And it's it's separate from, this is an important point here. you have to set this up separately from the next section below, Google Businesses. It has so local services has its own control panel, its own logins, its own optimizations, its own budget, its own verification process. It doesn't, if you have local services, you've only set up half of it. And some of you don't even have it at all, but you think you do, and you're not sure, like Ben mentioned. So local service ads is its own standalone Google product that you have to register for separately. And with that, now go on to the second.
Yep. So right here, Google Business Profile. Now this one, I believe majority of agents have, right, and have it set up. They're maybe not using it properly. And we'll talk more about how to use this platform as well. But just to give an overview of this is called the map pack, right? The map section. It's on every single localized search. So if you put a town, a city, if you localize any kind of search, like near me, right, you get this map pack automatically, right? Because that's the most relevant as far as what Google believes, right? And now there's usually 3 people that show up on the top here, the buy box, right? The 3 spots on top. You need to be in those 3 spots to have a real impact, right? Google My Business is really going after a much more narrow, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit. Whereas local source ads, you can go much more broad with your targeting, because we can put money behind it and put a little more into it to expand that radius, right? Google My Business is all organic. You cannot put any sort of ad spend. All the leads you get from it are free, which is still powerful, but it can take a lot longer to start ranking on Google My Business.
Right, but it's a separate profile. So separate login, separate setup, separate optimization, separate verification of your business location. That's different from the local service ones, and they don't overlap.
Yeah,
Okay?
I know probably many of you have the same problem. You have the video verification, you can't get it verified. That's Google My Business.
Right.
It's actually harder to get it verified than local service ads.
And the reviews are separate too. So they overlap in one small way, but they're generally separate platforms.
Yep.
Okay. So now we're going to dive into here. We're going to zoom in to that first section of local service ads that Ben described, is the pay per call. This is the sponsored section. This is a section where you can go wider if you want to. You can go an entire state. We run entire states, in huge states in Florida, North Carolina. We do it in Maine regularly. We do it in New Hampshire. We do it a lot of, or we can run it in just a county. Okay. So you can kind of play with this a little bit, but let's just understand what's going on here with a local service ad. So Ben pointed out that green check mark. Yes, it's sponsored, but there's a green check mark that says Google screened. And that green check mark is Google lending their credibility and kind of their Google seal of approval to the displayed vendors here. Now, whether or not the public knows what that means, they can click the check mark and it will tell them what it means, a license check, verification. It does mean that there's been some due diligence done by Google, and that does carry a degree of credibility with the public. So these are like Google recommended providers. That's why it's so powerful. Okay, right now we're seeing, and this changes almost every day. I do this, we talk about this, let's say 2 on desktop, 2 on mobile. Lately it's been 2 on desktop, 3 on mobile. It used to be 3 and 3. So Google is constantly iterating and playing with this. Remember, they're trying to maximize their revenue. So they're playing with this all the time. So don't get hung up on whether you're seeing 2 or 3 on desktop or mobile, but it is on both. This is important now. You pay per call. Like Ben said, you can click on it. You can look at the profiles. You can go to the websites, but you're only going to pay when a call is made. How do they know if someone calls you? We're going to show you on the next slide. But the hint is that that's not our phone number. That's a Google generated number. Okay, so Ben will go through that in the next slide. But it's a pay per call. We'll talk more about that. And we quote an average price about $35 a call. In March, across all the profiles that we manage, about 91 profiles, it was $31.20 per call.
Yep, and I'll throw out there, Florida, California, you have the most expensive leads. So
yes,
no surprise there.
Okay, but you have a higher market, higher price points and whatnot. So hopefully would offset. But when we talk about the price per call, just want to mention one thing on that. Remember from our previous slides, about a 10% conversion of the first call. So $35 a call, 10 calls to get a sale, $350. Average closing in my market right now is about a $7,000 GCI. So who's willing to write a check for $350 to make 7K GCI? Right? How many times a month would you be willing to do that? Right? How many calls can I get? How many checks can I write? If it went to $45 a call, is it still a good deal? Yeah, it's a decimal point after the ROI. It's 12.8 or 13.1. So we're very blessed in real estate because not all markets are like this. And this may change in the future. We don't know, but it's been this way for now for a number of years. But when Ben was locksmithing, you heard Cari introduce Ben, a mobile locksmith, the calls are about the same, $35, $40 a call, and it's a $300 service. So there's not a lot of margin there. If you don't get, 1 out of 3 calls, you're going to basically get a deal. And even then the margin is very, very slim. In real estate, our margin is 10x or more. We've got a lot of leeway here, kind of a lot of room to play with this. We can use it as a referral source. There's a lot of things you can be doing with this because there's such a good margin here. So with that, we're going to go to I'm going to, I think I'll skip this slide. This is actually just that's an example. It's a recording of a call of someone coming in.
I mean, you can play it.
Should I play it?
Yeah, play it for a second.
Sharing.
Yeah, share audio and play it.
Make sure we're good on time. Let's see here. Whoops. But I don't know if I'm sharing
audio.
Sharing audio or not. I have to click the share button again, right? Let's just see. Well,
that's fine. We can do it.
Yeah. Oh, I see here. Here it is. Wait. Okay. Share sound. So this is an actual call that came in. Let's just play a few seconds of it. How's that? And that's the listing.
Welcome to calling the Real Property Team with EXP Realty. How can I help you?
Yeah, I was just calling. I'm selling a property, and I didn't know which area you guys were mainly in. I looked up the Carabassi Valley kind of area. I was looking for a certain realtor, but you guys had the most reviews. I didn't know how the process works. It's the first house I'm selling, so.
Okay, not a problem. If you like, I can definitely have one of the.
Okay, I'll just pause it there. And so that's our front desk answering the call, and it's a live transfer, and then that's the active listing right now. So that's pretty typical of these calls. Like Ben mentioned, that these calls, when they come in, they're looking for a real estate agent. You see, no one is going to go and just search real estate agent in, Moscow, Maine, or Bangor, Maine, because they're kind of bored and looking for something to do, right? You might, you might have other hobbies. I've got 10 kayaks in my shed and a couple bicycles. And if have some downtime, I might search, a part for a kayak or a part for a sailboat, because I need to look, right? Ben says might. Okay. But I'm not going to go looking for a real estate agent near me if I'm bored. Like, no one's looking for that kind of torture. So it's right. It's someone that has a need. And that's why these leads are so low in the funnel. And they really are not shopping. They've looked at your reviews. As long as you make a good impression, they're going to come and hire you. So you're going to go and work for them. Okay. So now we're going to go and Ben's going to take us through this kind of step by step. How do you get the rank? We're going to answer the question of what are you going to do to rank here? What are the factors? And so Ben will talk about this. He'll add in one more factor here: relevance, experience, and go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, and so I'll go through the steps here. I'll go really quick because we're short on time. And hopefully I have to do on Google My Business. If not, we'll cut it short. It's okay.
Okay.
So we'll go through really quickly on some of the main factors to help you get ranked on this platform. So yeah, Mike always says relevance, experience. I always add in there, and Google wants to get paid, right? Google wants to make money. If Google's not making money, then they're not giving anybody leads, right? It's just the way it goes. Again, they're a for-profit company. They're not a freebie company. All right, they're out there to make money. So first off, you have to Google screened. If you're not screened, then you go and get screened. There's a site called Google Local Services. You go look it up. It says get started. If you go to YouTube and you search it, there's tons of videos on how to get started on local services. Go do it. If you're not sure if you've done it, like, oh, I'm Google screened, you would know. It's kind of like being arrested. They're going to background check you. They're going to license check you. They're going to ask you for your insurance, right? They're going to verify all these things for you. You will, if you are screened, you will know, right? If you get arrested, you know you got arrested. Same thing as Google screened. You know it. All right, the next one you can go on.
And Ben, for the record, Ben's never been arrested.
As far as he knows.
But I do have I do have 6 kids, and I won't comment on some of the other ones. Okay. All
right. So. I hit him the best, so here's another. All right. We'll move on. All right, service areas. So the first one we'll go over is service areas. And this is really important because most agents, when they first get on this platform, I'm not sure why, but they all try to use the exact cities, zip codes, or areas they're in. Where, again, Google doesn't like this for a couple of reasons, and it makes you less relevant on top of that. So again, we're going after relevance and experience, and Google wants to get paid. So for this one, it's really more about relevance and them getting paid. Because if we get a lead that's outside of our service area, we don't pay for that lead, right? So now if we have little towns selected and there's gaps in between our areas, If a lead's in those gaps, right, we don't get that lead. We don't even show up for that lead. And if we do, and we got the lead, we don't pay for it. So Google is very careful, like, oh, if you don't want to service all these different areas, I'll give you less leads because I'm not sure you're going to pay for those leads. So when you set up your service areas, make sure you grab a much wider, use counties, right? You can use counties on local services, grab 2 or 3, 4, 5 counties in your area, make that map big, right? The worst case scenario, you have a referral and you send it out and you still get paid on it and the ROI was still good. So don't use cities and neighborhoods, use entire counties. That way Google wants to give you more leads because they know they're getting paid, they know you're relevant for other people, and they will show your ad more often on that search. All right, next is services. It's the exact same thing as service areas, same reasons, right? It's going after relevance and Google wants to get paid. If you minimize the amount of services you want to do, so I had an agent told me that he doesn't work with any first-time home buyers, right? And he had it turned off in his profile. I'm like, you can turn it off, that's fine. You can choose to do that. Keep in mind, Google is gonna prefer to not show your account over somebody else who has that turned on, right? Again, because if I get a first-time home buyer and that's not my profile, I don't pay for that lead, right? I get a free lead. Google does not get paid. They'd much rather sell it out to a similar agent with similar reviews rather than giving me the lead. So how they do that is they don't rank me, they rank Mike instead. Mike gets the lead, right? Done deal, right? So make sure you have all of them turned on. I would definitely turn off renters and property management. All the rest I would leave on, right? But renters and property management, do not turn those on. You will get those calls anyways. You'll dispute them and not pay for them. Those are the 2 profiles that almost every agent has turned off. So you're okay turning those 2 off as well.
Yeah. So if you keep rentals turned on, your phone will blow up and you will have to pay for them.
Yep.
Okay. So remember, Google's, well, he'll tell you right now with this phone number, right? Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah. So these next 2 kind of go together, but we'll talk about the phone number first. So as Mike mentioned earlier, is Google is tracking the experience of all these calls coming in, right? And one of the ways they do that is they actually use a Google forwarding number. So all the calls that come in, that is not our phone number, right? Our number's in the back end of this system on Google, and all the calls coming in go through Google's number to us. What Google does is they want to see how fast you answered,
Whoops.
if you answered, and they want to see
about that.
how you handled that call, right? They're recording every single conversation, and they now use, and we know this for a fact, they use AI to vet those calls and to screen out what those calls were, right? They're using AI to determine, was that a renter, was that a buyer, was that a seller? And they use it to help them manage what leads to charge you for, what leads to allow disputes for, right? So they are tracking that experience through that tracking number. That is not our number, right? So now the calls, the hours wrap together with that because, again, the more you're willing to service, right? The more area, the more types of services, the more hours, right? The better you're going to rank because Google knows that you're more relevant during those hours, and Google knows that we can give you a lead anywhere, anytime, and you're going to pay us for that lead, and we know that you're going to have a great experience, right, for our customers, right? That's what Google wants. If Google can accomplish that on every single call, that's their business model, because then they know the consumer will keep coming back to this platform, right? Because now the locksmith, we have plumbers on here, we have electricians, we have lawyers on here, not only agents. So if we can provide a good service with local services from Google's point of view, right, then that person is now Google's customer, right? Not our customer, but Google probably makes more money off that person in the whole life than we do, right? That person keeps coming back to use this service. All right, and then we have the reviews up top here as well. And I want to note, because it comes up almost every single time, is people say, oh, but I'm brand new and I have no reviews. Don't worry about having a lot of reviews. You're better off having high quality, consistent reviews and not quantity, right? So don't worry if you're brand new, you're just getting started. We just saw Aaron rank with 6 reviews, outrank some, Helixing Sun who had over 300 reviews. Reviews are important. They're not the most important thing. Google knows that they're easy to spoof, right? There are also several types of reviews, which you don't have time to go over on this call, but you have verified reviews, you have Google My Business reviews, you have LSA reviews. There's a whole thing that you can go look at on YouTube. There's 3 types of reviews on Google. But reviews, the point is, don't worry if you don't have a lot of reviews. Just start with what you have. You need 5 to get going, and then make it a goal to get 1 or 2 a week from anybody, other agents, lenders, whoever has worked with you, past clients, 1 or 2 a week consistently. don't worry about having 500 reviews all at once. All right, and the last thing here is the customer's previous search history. So right up here, you see this, it says you called May 11th, right? So now Google, again, is tracking our every move online. They know that we spoke to the real property team, right, back on March 11th. So now what happens is, if Google knows, if you have a good online presence and a consumer was on your website, on your Facebook, or has some interaction with your business, Google knows this, right? They know that the real property team, they have our website there, they have our phone number there, right? In the back end, they know who we are on the internet. So if Google senses that if they show a certain consumer our profile, that consumer is more likely to act on that result, right? Then they're going to do that. So the point I'm making here is the better your overall online presence is, right, that also can contribute to how well your profile ranks for specific people, right? Because again, Google wants to make money. So if they can show me a person that I'm more likely to call, right, Google's more likely to get paid on that lead, right? So having a good, social media, Facebook and Instagram and website, right, is all really important wrapped in. It's not the most important, but it's a cherry on top. If you have all of that, it can help feed this a little bit more.
Right. All right, cool. So we're at a quarter of the hour. So just go quickly through this, maybe 3 more minutes, and then we'll stop and we'll hope for questions. All right. So this is the profile section, the map section. Okay. And a little different, but same idea, right? But there's 3 spots alongside the map. You appear on desktop and mobile. These are organic results and they're never paid. Never paid. The basic rankings, just to summarize it real quick, because again, we're kind of out of our time here. How do you get the top spot? Your location is your #1 thing. You've got to be on the map or you're not going to get on the map. Your reviews matter here, but again, like Ben mentioned, it's the consistency of your reviews, not the quantity. It's getting reviews consistently. It's getting mentioned all over the internet and linking back to these profiles. It's creating posts. This is a section where you can create posts. You can create updates. You can post your open houses. You can post what's going on in your community. You can create real estate related educational posts, but they have to be good. They have to be localized, and they cannot be copy and pasted off of like a KCM or Keeping Current Matters or just a general website. It needs to be something from you, because Google reads everything and they know if it's authentic or not. And remember, this is where they're looking to deliver those AI results. And the more your posts get read, the more they get interacted with, that's interactions, the more likely you are to rank. Okay, but this is not a section. This is not like social media. No one's going to Google business profiles and randomly scrolling through a whole bunch of profiles. No, you're getting ranked by getting a location and consistent reviews. And then when they click on your profile, if they start spending time on your profile and clicking out and clicking back in and reading your posts, watching your videos, looking at your photos, that makes your profile sticky. That reinforces, just think of it as a big circle, that reinforces your ranking, and around and around and around you go. Okay, so that you can get better over time, but it is a longer tail, a longer process to get ranked. But once you've established this space, you can hang on to it. And that's why we rank now in every market that we have an office. We're not ranking on one of those top 3 spots. So Ben, I don't know. Let's pull it right here for right now. I think, right, because I want to leave a little bit of time, and I know some of us have hard stops at 3. So, go shoot away. I mean, Cari, Ben, what do you think we should go from here? So let me stop my screen share.
Yeah, I think so there's a whole other piece to this presentation. I think we covered local service ads. I think a lot of agents needed that more than Google My Business. We almost always put it first for that reason.
Right.
But again, there's a whole other section of this that's Google My Business as well. That could be a whole other 45 minutes if you want it to be. But
Yeah.
that's part B, Cari. So it's like,
yeah, we'll have you come back for part B.
That's
That would
Google
be
part
great.
2. Yeah.
That'd be great. So Danica says, what if we're a brand new agent, can this still work for me? I assume this can work for anybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so like I said, the biggest concern that newer agents have is, I have no reviews, right? Don't worry about not having any reviews, right? You need 5 to get going. And yeah, if you're in a competitive market, I mean, maybe a little bit harder for you to go after them. But if you are consistent with it, this is one of the easiest ways to compete against the big players in your markets, right? Google doesn't care how big you are to rank you. Google wants a good experience for their consumers, and they want to make sure that the client, right, that they get paid, right? That's all they really want. right? So it doesn't matter if you're brand new, not brand new. I literally have agents that are out the box, first time on Google, right? It makes no difference how, long the agent's been. They don't care, right? They don't care. They don't know. Your years in business, you can choose to display that. You can choose not to in your profile. It's totally up to you. So no, it does not matter if you're new or old. We all have the same advantage here. It's an even playing field.
Right.
I love that. So it's the consistency. It is to some degree the ad spend. And then
Yep.
it's being specific on what it is that you're doing. And those are the three things I took away for this. You have to know what to focus on,
Mhm.
what to do, but you have to do it consistently and be willing to spend some money. You should get a return on your investment. So if
Right.
people kind of just dabble in this and don't do it very consistently and don't spend a lot of money, probably not going to be as successful, just to clarify.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, the consistency with Google is key. I mean, I always say, even with Google business profiles, a lot of real estate agents get oversold on like the idea of SEO. Like I call it a black box marketing. I do SEO, so I know this. It's a black box marketing, right? Where it's like you're buying something, you're not really sure what you're buying, but you're paying for it,
Yeah.
right? You just do it because you usually it's big promises, little results, right? The main problem with SEO is with agents don't really want to do SEO. They want Google My Business. And the most important thing in Google My Business and local services is review consistency. You can have 0 reviews, and if you spent, I don't know, 6 weeks getting 1 or 2 a week, you will go from being bottom 100 to top 10 very quickly, just with consistent reviews, right? After that, there's more you can do. Once you're in the top 10, now people see you. Now, if you can get an interaction in their profile, you can get ranked up even higher. But really, like when you first start, all you gotta worry about is reviews. Like get reviews consistently and use a platform consistently, right? Don't slack off, right? Every day, spend 10 minutes, right, making a quick post on Google, asking a client for a review. It's very small, easy tasks. It's much more habit oriented, right? That's why I like local services, especially for newer agents, because for everybody else is doing expired, FISBOs, YouTube, right? Blogging. Like, first of all, YouTube, man, the learning curve for YouTube is hard. Like, don't if someone tells you YouTube's easy, right? It is not true. YouTube is hard, video is hard. Some agents are even scared to even just look at a camera. Yeah, that's how hard it can be. This, Google, it's like their algorithm is so simple. All they want to see is businesses being consistent, right? And people consistently being happy with that business. That's all they want to see. And so few real estate agents are doing this. If you look at any other industry right now, you go look at plumbers, lawyers, locksmiths, right? Restaurants, chiropractors. They've been doing Google for decades. Agents, like you say, Google leads. Like, how'd you get Google leads? Like, how do you get that? I don't have Google leads, right? I don't know why that is, but I just feel that agents say, if you have the consistency to be on Google, it's easy task. Be consistent and use the platform and do it. Even if it's not working, keep doing it. It will work. It's an algorithm. It's not rocket science.
Yep. I love it. So what would be next? Does anybody have any questions? Unmute yourself if you do. I don't see any more. Let me see. Do I see any more in the chat? No, I think that was just the question from the new agent, Danica. So you answered that. We still have a lot of people watching live, but no. Oh, Erica says, do you offer training? So perfect segue. Thanks, Erica, for asking on the live stream. So you guys want to share a little bit about how people could get in contact with you, what you do outside of this free call? Obviously, if people want to learn more and be in touch with you guys?
Yeah, so a couple of things. So first of all, every Friday we have a webinar that we run, and it's basically it's very similar to what we did today. It's more geared towards, it does like a presentation, and then we do sell our service at the end of it. What we do for agents is our goal, especially being EXP, was more about giving agents the tools and the trainings to be self-sufficient with this and to not rely on say an SEO company. So what we do is our goal was to build a product to give agents every single tool they need to be good and consistent with Google, so they can get leads in on these platforms. So we do have a program that we offer out to agents. And if you want to know more about that program, I can put a link here if you want to my webinar in the Zoom chat.
That'd be great.
You can share it out. And on that webinar, we teach at the back end of the webinar. We have an offer that we offer out to agents. It's broker agnostic. We don't care where you are in the brokerage. Everyone's welcome to join the program.
Yeah,
So I'll grab that for you, Cari.
that'd be great. If you post it in here, I'll post it on the live stream as well.
Yep. So we go.
And I assume Ben and Michael are both available on work chat as well.
Yep, for
Yep.
sure.
Yeah, work,
Questions?
yeah. Work
Yeah,
chat. If you go to Facebook, I'm there too.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're in the EXP ecosystem, just hit us up on Workplace and we can absolutely help you with that.
That's
And,
awesome.
Yeah,
and-
I just
Yeah, I
posted
think there's going to be more people that will want some more in-depth, you know, training or maybe another webinar just to kind of wrap their mind around it. I knew you guys did this, so this is great for you to have out there. So every Friday, people could jump
every Friday
on.
we do it around
Yeah.
1 o'clock. That's been the calendar until now.
Yeah,
Usually
every Friday,
about
1
7,
p.m.
about
clock
100
work
people
request.
on usually, something like that.
1 p.m. Eastern.
Yep, Eastern time.
Awesome.
So
Awesome. Well, this has been really, really good. I've talked to a couple of people who have learned from you and have been able to start doing some Google ads. They didn't know where to begin before. And this is the whole point of these free calls, is for people to be exposed to people that have expertises like you guys. So if this is something that you want to look further into, if you've been trying to figure out what a good lead source for you would be, if you're willing to do it consistently, if you're willing to put some money into it, you know, please go ahead and jump on another Friday call. If you want to be directly connected, if you don't want to go to another webinar and you're not with EXP, just reach out to me and I'll go ahead and connect you with Ben. But you can also find him on Facebook. Friend request him and message him there. That's where I found him. And yeah, I'm sure you can Google him and find him as well.
that's right.
Let me guess.
That's right.
It's not going to be hard to find these guys. And you know, I want to put a little plug in because we do have a lot of people that watch that are not with EXP. And one of the things that, you know, I have been watching a lot of people that have partnered with us do is come into EXP, take the savings, or if they're coming in as a team, a group, I have some people that kind of join together, join forces together, come in. We're, you know, taking that revenue share money they're going to get just from the business that they do already with their business partner. By the way, that just increased with our new revenue share model 2.0. So a minimum of $4,000 if your business partner is a capper. Typically there's a bonus on it. So take that $5,000 or $6,000 plus any savings that you might get by just coming over to this company and throw it into something that's actually going to get you a return on your investment, like Google Ads, and watch it double your business or add a whole lot more to your business. And you get such larger return on the investment of that savings than if you just put it back in your pocket and say, oh, cool, I got $4,000 extra dollars. What if you could sell 5 more homes at a $10,000 commission? You just made $50,000 from the $4,000 that you got by coming over to EXP. So, you know, this is the kind of stuff I get passionate about. How can we help you make more money? Keeping more money is fantastic, but making more money is even better. So, all of those things available to you. Reach out to us if we can help you any further. Reach out to me if for some reason you can't find Ben and Michael, but I'm sure you'll be able to. And join their webinars on Fridays if you want to explore this a little bit more. Guys, thanks so much for joining us. I really appreciate you.
Thanks, Cari.
Thank
Thanks
you.
so
Have
much.
Have a great day, everybody.
You too.
Thanks.
Take care.
We'll see you next time.